Decision making is a critical skill for all leaders. So, how good are you at making decisions? In this video, I'll share with you a simple framework for making better decisions. I'm Jason, I'm the leadership guy, and I'm here to help you become a better leader. Recently I had an experience that really caused me to question my decision making skills. Yeah. I really questioned my decision making skills. I needed to go to the bank to do a transaction. I was actually depositing funds into someone else's account. I don't like doing over the counter transactions because it just takes too long. Thankfully, my bank has this machine where you can put the funds into a special envelope, fill out the envelope, put it in the machine, stamp it, walk away. Right? 2 minutes, you're done. I prefer to do that. So I got to the bank, went to do that, had the thing in hand, walked up to the machine, realized the machine is out of service. I thought, oh my goodness. I looked at the line and I said, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. So I walked away. I walked away to go check on something else. And then I made a decision. Just go and stand in the line. Let's get this done. Go and stand in the line. So I went back to the bank. When I got back to the bank, I got my number and stood in line. And I stood there in line. It was more than an hour before I even got to the counter. Got to the counter again, 2 minute transaction. I'm out of there. Didn't like it, but it's done, right? It's done. 2 days later, I needed to go back and do a similar transaction. And I'm thinking the bank is closing at 2 o'clock. I'll leave in time to get there. We're easy. Then I suddenly realized, Jason, the bank is not closing 2 o'clock today. The bank is closing at 1 o'clock. Oh my goodness. So I got myself sorted out, dashed up the road, got to the bank a few minutes after 1 o'clock. So that wasn't going to work. That wasn't going to work. So I said, I really want to do this transaction today. I will figure it out. I'll just go waste 2 hours. I didn't have anything with me to do any productive work, so I essentially need to waste 2 hours. And as I was walking away, looked back at the bank and noticed that there was a lady with an envelope, just like the one that I had, speaking with a guard. And it seemed as if she was trying to convince the guard to let her go inside because it's a 2 minute transaction. You go inside, they drop the thing, and you leave. And so I thought, yeah, they're not going to let her inside. Forget it. And let's go. So I went and I the wrong and I wasted 2 hours. And then I came back. I came back and I arrived there just a few minutes before the bank was due to open. And so I stood, I waited. And then the time came, it's now 3 o'clock. The bank opened and I went inside. And I confidently walked up to the machine. Lo and behold, the machine still is not working. And right at that point, I thought, are you kidding me? For two reasons. I couldn't believe that the machine still wasn't working after 2 days and that I had allowed myself to be put into this position. I couldn't believe it. And I thought, you have got to be kidding me. And I looked at the line, I looked around, I knew this is at least an hour. And I said, no, I'm not going to do this to myself. I'm just going to do this transaction. And so I left and I went back home. As I reflected on that experience and the pain of just wasting 2 hours, allowing myself to be put in that position because that was all on me, that's all my fault. I walked away with some learnings. See, it's important to walk away with learnings from whatever, right? According to John Maxwell, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, right? So yeah, I learned from that. So let me share with you 3 important learnings that I have from this that forms a simple framework. The first one is ensure that you have all the information necessary to make a good decision. There's a minimum amount of information that you need in any situation, any circumstance to be able to make a decision. And I just didn't have it. I didn't have it. I needed one critical piece of information that I didn't even think about. I needed to know if that machine is working. Because 2 days prior, it wasn't working. And here I am, not having that critical piece of information with me. I needed to know, is this machine working? So all I needed to do was to go to the security guard, ask the guard, is that deposit machine working? And he would have told me yes or no. And then I'll be able to make a decision. And because I didn't have the information in hand to be able to make a sound decision, I made a poor decision. I decided to wait 2 hours until the bank opens back without having the information to make that decision. That caused me to waste 2 hours, 120 minutes of my life was wasted because I didn't have a piece of critical information and I went ahead and made the decision anyway. So the first lesson, ensure that you have the information that you need to make the decision. Here's the second one. Don't presume that you know what is going on. Don't do that. Things often look one way, but they are in fact something completely different. As in the case, when that lady was speaking with the guard, I presumed to know that she was trying to get in the bank, where in fact the guard might have simply been telling her, Miss, that machine is not working. I presumed that the machine was working. I presumed that I knew what was going on, and I was wrong. And because I presumed that I knew what was going on, I made a poor decision. And I wasted 120 minutes of my life because I presumed to know. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Here's your third, very important lesson. Learn from your previous experiences and do better next time. Yeah, do better next time. Now, because on that second time around, I actually couldn't do the transaction, I needed to go back again to the bank. Right? Now, because the transaction with the machine, this is a 2-minute transaction, and I typically don't need to stand in any lines. You just walk up to the machine, you put the thing down, and you go your way. I realized on 2 previous occasions, that machine was not working when I thought it was. So on this occasion, I need to position myself to not make that mistake and pay the price. What price would I have to pay? If I go too late, then I would need to stand in an exceedingly long line, and I'm not prepared to do that. So whether the machine was working or not, I decided, let me go early enough so that if the machine is not working, I will be in a good position in the line to get through fairly quickly. So I went, about 30 minutes before the bank opened. I had my envelope. I went straight to the security guard and asked him one simple question. Is the deposit machine working? And to my shock, he said, no, it's not working. Disappointment. Couldn't believe this is still not working? What's going on here? And so I headed to the line to take my place in line because I now need to go stand and wait to go to the teller and then do the transaction over the counter. But thankfully, I went early enough and I had a space that was fairly close to the start of the line. And so I waited. So I got there 30 minutes early, and then I waited, bank opened, went into the line, waited again for my turn, and after 20 minutes of standing in line in the bank, I got through. I left and I said, all right, wonderful. Let's go on, conquer the rest of the day. And I look back at that in the totality of that experience. Going on the first day, facing that disappointment, deciding, let's stand in line, get it done. And then making the basic error of presuming that the machine was working. and then having to waste 120 minutes of my time. And the third time around, I learned. I learned and I did better on this occasion. What about you? Are there errors that you are making again and again? Let me encourage you. Use this simple framework that I'm sharing with you. First step, ensure you have the information necessary to make decisions. Any decision requires a minimum amount of information. Don't guess. Get the information, make a sound decision. Secondly, don't presume that you know what's going on. You probably don't. Ensure that you are clear. This is what is happening here. Ask a simple question for clarity. Sometimes we are afraid to ask questions because it might look like you know what you're doing. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Get the information that you need. Make a sound decision. Don't presume anything. Don't guess anything. And when you've been burnt, as you have been, and you inevitably will be burnt again, because yes, you are going to make poor decisions again, just like I did. Right? When that happens to you, learn from it. Learn from it. Apply the illness. Bring the lesson forward. Apply it and make a better, do better the next time. So as you lead in various areas of your life, wherever you are, whatever area of your life, you're making decisions. As you lead, do the very best you can to make solid, sound, informed decisions. Check out this video for more help becoming a better leader. See you next time.